we have two ladies from different generation.
I think all in all, feminism is about equal rights and equal opportunity for everybody. But if you have different goals and things that you want to pursue, maybe you can't be partners in that sense, but you can still come back for that romance.
If you got the money, your wife reflects the money.
Absolutely.
This new feminism is destructive. Men who are very ambitious don't marry ambitious women. They want the woman to really serve them. So they're already going in thinking, I wonder if she wants me. I wonder if it's the money. And they know it's the money. When I was 21, I was a mess. It was all about validation. It was all about being cute. You've chosen this persona. And sometimes you make decisions and choices not based on who you truly are, but who the persona is.
Literally, I create this reality. Like, I create what I want. I am worthy, and I'm not some disgusting creature that needs saving. It's exhausting being alive, honestly.
Oh my.
I can create everything, and everything is where I'm lacking in confidence.
But confidence is a muscle. It comes from repeatedly doing the things. Most people are zombies. Most people are just going along to get along. If you can't keep it real with yourself, who can you keep it real with? The truth really will set you free.
But the truth is, you still have to put energy into it in order for it to attract.
Sometimes them women don't win because they think their beauty is enough. And that's the downfall, because all beauty fades.
Welcome to Madhouse Conversations. My name is Genesis Lawansen, and I am your host. On this episode, we have two ladies from different generation come together for a well-needed discussion. I'll let the ladies introduce themselves. Start with you.
Hi, my name is Linda Husser. I am a content creator and also affectionately known as the Bodacious Lifestyle Coach for Black women over 50. I am 62 years old.
Awesome. So what about you?
Hi, I'm Seda Niblack. I'm in childcare, and I'm an actress. And I'm 21.
Okay. So you are 62 years old
Yes.
and you are 21 years old.
Yes.
All right. So this question is going to be to the both of you, but we're going to start with Linda. All right. You both described your lives as being in transition, right? What does that transition actually look like for you?
Transition for me looks like not seeing age as a liability, but more of an asset. And I'm aging boldly, not bitterly, because a lot of people really have an issue with getting older. They get angry. They start to feel like life passed them by based on some different choices they made. So for me, transition is going against the grain and not allowing society to dictate to me what 62 looks like, sounds like, dresses like, feels like, any of that. So that's what transition means to me at this stage of the game.
So for you, what does transition look like?
Honestly, she explained it so well. That's how it feels for me as well. Like, transitioning in my life is how I describe it, because I'm always like, my life can go in any direction. That's how it feels right now. And I'm still trying to find grounding in what exactly could be something I put all of my energy into, because there's so many things I love. I have so many hobbies that are half explored. So everything's in transition, and I feel like anything can boom at any moment. Like, it can, like, I don't have control of necessarily what the outside factors, like how my boat is stirring or turning, but I am turning my boat in certain directions as well. So it just feels like there's so many things, like outside factors and inner factors, that are in place that are making my life in constant transition. Like, I still trying to figure out what I want, and the world is also figuring out what they're going to do with me. So that's how it feels pretty much.
So listening to her being a 62-year-old lady, would you say you were in the same position when you were 21 years old?
Absolutely. When I was 21, I was a mess. I was It was all about validation. It was all about being cool. It was all about being popular. It was all about being cute. It was all about being part of the cute girl crowd. Like, if you didn't have your gear together, if your hair wasn't laid, if you didn't have, a nice car, even though we're 21, because when you're 21, for me, it was all about materialistic, because I grew up in California. So it's just what it is. And so I was confused. I didn't know who I was, but I knew what I didn't want to be, if that makes sense. I wasn't clear on who I was, but I knew I didn't want to be broke. I knew I didn't want to be part of the ugly crew. I'm just keeping it real. And, when we went to the club, we were being treated right. And sometimes we ended up in some crazy situations. This was LA. But yeah. So yeah, I'm glad that I survived my 20s. Let's just put it that way.
So are you currently surviving your 20s?
I don't think so for me. I don't feel like I'm surviving. But I'm also, I mean, the average 21-year-old I feel like is likely either in college or like living with their parents or some surprise third option or some surprise fourth option. But like I live with my parents and I'm doing school and I'm working and I'm like submitting self-tapes and stuff. I don't currently feel like I'm in survival because I don't have to. I mean, the only bills I pay are for my cat, for the car, for my phone. Like those are the only bills I got right now. And like groceries because I buy my own groceries. But like overall, I just feel like I'm figuring things out and I don't feel, I mean, I'm obviously nervous because I do feel like some people are ahead of me, but at the same time, I'm confident that I'm going to get where I want to be. Like, that's how I feel, like, foundationally, that I'm going to get where I want to be. So, I wouldn't say surviving, but definitely working. Definitely working.
You said something right there. You said, you're going to get to where you're supposed to be, which I think that's a good foundation to have. I like that.
Thanks.
Okay, so at 62 years old, how differently do you think about who you are?
Meaning, how often do I think about it? Or
Now that you're 62 years old,
okay,
do you feel different about who Linda used to be and who Linda is currently?
oh, definitely. If I met Linda, I'd punch her in her face. Seriously. Because she was wild. You know what I'm saying? She was really wild and not a very compassionate person, right? It was all about just being that girl. And that doesn't make you a nice person all the time, right? Because you have this persona that you have decided on. You've chosen this persona, and sometimes you make decisions and choices not based on who you truly are, but who the persona is. And once you make a decision on that, there's behaviors that follow that, and thought processes that follow that, and actions that follow that, right? Because by no means do you want to get kicked out of the club. So even if you see some things that may challenge your integrity or make you think about ethically, is this really cool? Because of the club and the position and the choice that you made, you will not see some things sometimes. So coming full circle, I would have a really strong conversation with my 21-year-old self.
Perhaps physical.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'd duke it out. We'd have it duke it out, and then you know, and then have a seat and be like, "You got me that. You snuck me on that one, but it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I know where that's coming from." And then we'd have a conversation.
Hell yeah.
So you are 21. You obviously are just starting life, but do you feel differently about who you are now than when you were a teenager, like say 17, 18?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think back then back then, it wasn't that long ago. When I was a teenager, I felt more confident, I think. I definitely had um I think when you have a theology that you believe in, or like faith, you're definitely come off as more confident because you think that you know what's happening around you. You know what life is, you have it figured out. Other people are doing it wrong. So when I was younger, I definitely had more confidence in who I was and what I believed in. And now I definitely obviously I miss like that sort of understanding about the world that I thought I had. But like now, I like how my world has expanded now, that it's not just this. It's not just a set thing that my parents told me it was. Like it could be anything. I could have anything. The world has everything. And so I like that aspect, but because like now the world is way bigger. Because I'm outside of this like lens that I had, everything is bigger, feels a little scarier, and more uncertain. Um, so I definitely see myself different in that aspect where I'm not as confident as a person I used to be, I think, for sure, because there's just more possibility, which is good, but it's definitely unnerving.
Mm.
Do you have anything to say to that?
I think you think too much. I think if you would just really tap into what it is that you really, 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 really want to do and double down on that, that's where the confidence is. Because confidence is a muscle, right? It's like
Mhm.
when you first go to the gym, if you haven't been, you're not going to get in there and run 3 miles like the dude who's like showing off next to you who's been working out for 10 years. But confidence is a muscle. It comes from repeatedly doing the things that we know we should be doing and stumbling through it and getting back up and like, okay, won't make that move, but next time
Mhm.
I'm going to get on it at a slower pace and then build up. So confidence is just a muscle,
Mhm.
right? And back then you were just freer. Life, if we're not careful, can bog us down. And in those 3 years from 18 to 21, you're getting a little bogged down from the reality of life.
Mhm.
18 is very idealistic, right?
Yeah.
So just tap back into that 18-year-old.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm not confident. I just don't think it's the same as when I was younger and I thought I had everything figured out at that time. Now that I'm walking into a world that has less borders,
Mm.
it's not that I'm not confident, because there are certain things that I do know for myself and that I know I will be okay. I know I can figure it out, and I know that I can have anything and everything that I want. But I think where it's different is that it's just like, because I have to create my own reality. And, like for years and years, we were always told, you're sinful, you're not anything without this deity. You're just like, you're you, and you're not that great, honestly. So now that I'm in a spot where I've discarded that belief, it's like I'm trying to rebuild, like, oh, I am literally, I create this reality. Like I create what I want. I can build it from top to bottom, but now I have to refine that stance where it's like, I am worthy and I'm not some disgusting creature that needs saving. I am I am emanating, if that's, did I say that right? I am creating this life, and like I am that power. So I guess finding that strength, and confidence to know that I can create everything and everything, um, is where I'm I'm lacking in confidence. In other areas I'm fine, I think, but it's just like this thing where I have to create my life completely is a little harder to find footing, I think. But yeah, definitely need to build up to that.
Linda, you said in your 20s you cared about being wanted, but now you care about what actually works for you. What has changed?
Life. When you're shallow, when you go along to get along, when you don't march to your own drumbeat or blaze your own trail, you really run from yourself.
Mm.
So once I decided, because I just believe life is about choices, period. Once I decided that who I was being wasn't who I was, that's when the shift started. And so I had to be brave enough to crush her so that the new me, the seed that was planted, could then bloom,
Mm.
right? But we can't, if there's two seeds competing for this small space, something has to give. So I put her to sleep. I put her to rest to give this Linda a chance to live. And most people just won't do that. And so they end up, I call them the new zombies, right? They're walking around, but there's no life there. There's no soul there. There's no excitement in their life. And I feel like that's why the world has become what it is, because we have a lot of zombies around here. Just taking up space, breathing up air, and they're psychic vampires.
Ooh,
We
I
have
agree
to
with
beware
that.
of them. They'll suck your dreams out of you. They'll suck the life out of you because they want you to come to their side and be miserable and sad and lonely and depressed, just like them. But they give you these masks that you put on so nobody really knows it until they sit down and start talking. And then you join that club. So there's two clubs I didn't want to be in. The club I was in after 21 years and the club that so many people are now in today.
So that's the zombie club.
That's the zombie club, yeah. Most people are zombies. Most people are just going along to get along. Most people are wallowing in shame and guilt and regret, bad choices, bad decisions, never really realizing that, okay, most people are doing that. So that means you step out. You decide, I'm going to change. I'm going to create the life that I desire and deserve, period. But most people don't want to do that because that's going to be a lonely road because most people are zombies. So you're going to have to be brave enough to walk that road alone initially. But as you walk that road, just like in the Wizard of Oz, there came the Tin Man. There came the lion. There came the tiger, right? But you have to be brave enough to get on the yellow brick road because the people will see you. You attract each other, right? But somebody's got to make the step. And why not me? Why not you? Why not you? Right?
Why not?
Why not?
What gave you that confidence to say, okay, I don't want to be that anymore. I got to be this? Because you spoke about zombies, you spoke about, the clubs you don't want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So what shifted for you? At what time did it shift for you and say, you know what? I'm gonna give this new Linda a chance, because you spoke about a seed that like you had to put the old Linda to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
What gave you that confidence to say, I gotta let this new Linda grow?
Honestly, self-development, mindfulness, meditation, therapy, being brave enough. See, it all comes down, we have to be brave enough to face ourselves and not run from ourselves. And we run in very provocative and sexy and smooth ways. We run from ourselves. We'll shop it away. We'll sex it away. We'll gamble it away. We'll eat it away. We will, some people will, there's toxic positivity. No matter what's going on, it's all good. Sometimes it's not all good. Sometimes it's all bad and you need to deal with that, right? But we guard ourselves and we hide ourselves. And I got tired of guarding and hiding. And I knew that the champion me, she was just knocking. She wouldn't stop knocking. And it got to the point where I could not keep tamping her down and bearing her, say, not now, girl, get out of here. And then one day I just said, okay, come on out. Let's go. What? And we just had a conversation. And she's like, what are you doing? What happened to all those dreams? All that stuff we talked about. You're like 50 years old. How much time do you think you have left? There's more years behind you than in front of you. Either we're going to get it going or we're not. What is it? And I decided, okay, let's go get the therapy. Let's work on ourselves. Because you're right. I do still have some time left. And that's what did it. I got honest with myself. Most people lie to the world and themselves. So that's a double whammy. If you can't keep it real with yourself, who can you keep it real with? And not getting like real deep into it, but the truth really will set you free. It might make you mad at first, might make you cry, might make you just like, be like, what in the world? I got to tell this truth. Well, just start with yourself though. You don't have to get a megaphone and blare it on top of the mountain to the world, but at least start with telling yourself the truth. And I'm telling you, it just the Red Sea parts and everything. And you just walk right on through the BS.
Listening to her, what truth would you say you may have been running away from?
Oh, what truth? I think one thing that I kind of like sidestep around a lot and ignore still would be that often when I think about what I want to do with my life or like what I want to put my energy into, I kind of can I this?
You can.
I kind of half-ass things a lot. I'll say that. Mainly to like losing interest, but also if I am interested in something, sometimes I will still not put my all into it. I'm not gonna say that I never do that. Like I do, there are things I put energy into. Like when I played volleyball, I gave it my all. When I um when I am trying to, submit all these self-tapes, I'm putting my all into it. I'm working hard to submit all these things. But I get distracted. I get distracted fairly easily and I kind of let it go. I sometimes use the excuse like, well, whatever. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But also, you got to put energy into stuff. Like you have to hone in on your abilities because a lot of times I'll just be like, it's fine. If it was meant for me, it was meant for me. But that's just an excuse not to try hard, I think, a lot of the times. Like in my head, I mean, I believe in like manifesting your life and like aligning your energy with a path that you want to take in life. And a lot of the times that still requires effort. Like you're not just wishing, you're not just be like, oh, I really want this and it's just going to happen. Like you still, like in order to align yourself, you still have to bring forth that energy that allows you to forge that path pretty much. And I think a lot of the times my brain will just skip over that thought and just be like, it's fine. It'll just happen. It'll happen. It'll happen if it's meant to happen, whatever. But like, I can go get it. Like, I can literally just go get it. Like, there's like this saying, um, you don't chase, you attract. And people say that all the time. And I don't think there's like, I think there's truth to it for sure. But also, um, in order to attract, you need to be like worthy of attracting it. Like, you need to be aligned with attracting it. Like, you can't just be like, oh, playing, like going into your parents' basement, playing video games, being like, one day I'm going to attract a director coming down here and being like, I want to cast you for this movie or something. Like, that's not going to happen. You can't just say that and it'll happen. You have to actually put energy in order to align with it. And a lot of times I think I scapegoat to that, to I don't chase, I attract. It'll just attract to me. But the truth is you still have to put energy into it in order for it to attract, I think. So yeah.
For you, Linda, do you think women spend too much of their early lives trying to earn validation?
Absolutely. And we've been programmed and conditioned for that by our parents. They're our first judges, they're our first critiquers, whatever you want to call it. And the issue becomes, now that we're primed and conditioned for this validation, the issue now becomes, how do we separate validation and value, right? And if all we've known growing up is positive validation means you do what I say, you get the grades I tell you you need to get, you clean your room the way I say, oh, you get a good job, blah, blah, blah. We get used to that. Congratulations, right? But then it transitioned. Now you're going to school and you don't want to be sitting at your table alone. And so now you're primed and conditioned for validation. So the kids that say, oh my God, can you come over here and sit with us? And you're like, yay, they chose me. So you go over there and you're all happy and you sit there with them. And then it just keeps progressing and progressing and progressing. So it starts our youth. And I believe that most of our idiosyncrasies, most of the things that we struggle with, most of the things that we don't struggle with, all starts in our childhood. I don't care what anybody says. I will fight them to the death if they say otherwise. It starts there. So yes, maybe that's a long-winded answer, but yes, I do believe it starts in our youth. Absolutely.
What about you, Seda? Do you think women spend too much of their early lives trying to earn validation?
Hell yeah. I think absolutely. It's instinctual that we crave validation. It's part of like how we evolved as humans. Like, I mean, empathy, like craving validation, it's how we connect to other humans. Like, everybody does it. It's not just women also, but I think everyone spends, I mean, yeah, women spend too much time looking for validation because at some points, like when you're little, it's how you learn to socialize with your parents, with people around you. Like, oh, I like that feeling. I like that they like me, and that's how, we connect to each other. So, but then it becomes this thing where, I mean, depending on your how you were raised, then it takes off and accentuates into like insecurity, and you start relying on validation you rely on it for socializing, which is not the foundations of socializing, I don't think. At least once you get older. When you're younger, like you're a baby, yes. Like that's the chemicals in your brain working correctly. But once you're older, you don't need it anymore. Not entirely. So, and then some people just rely on it too much. And I think a lot of women, especially women, we are taught that we need validation. Like for generations, like that was literally purely our purpose, like to be validated, to prov- to fit a certain role, gender role, and that required, having men be attracted to us and putting up a certain front that maybe you don't necessarily want to do. Like you had to do it. You had to do it to survive back then, and still, in some instances, people believe that you need to do that now. And I overall don't think it's a good thing. I vote no on validation, needing validation. It's not healthy, and I still think it's indoctrinated into me where I need validation as well. So, yeah, I don't like it. It sucks. I think it could go.
So, for you, Linda, do you see feminism today helping women find independence or creating a new expectations they feel pressured to meet?
I feel I feel like the definition of feminism has changed, if I'm going to keep it all the way real. And the new definition of feminism has women thinking that they don't necessarily need a significant other, right? Because I won't say man or women, because we have people who are, non-binary, doing they're living their best life. But I also believe that when you do have someone that you can connect with and build with and cry with and laugh with and share with and grow with, that expands us. So this feminism where it's about you just do you and everything is going to fall in line, and if they can't get with the program, then that's on them, don't worry about it, I think is destructive. Because I do believe we were put here for one another, regardless of what that looks like. I do believe we're social beings. And even when you look at National Geographic and animal programs, they're doing their social thing in their own social way. So when we go against that, I believe we do ourselves a disservice. So this new feminism, I feel, is destructive. And it's something to be said for being soft and sweet and malleable and, for lack of a better word, submissive. Because I think it ebbs and it flows. It's not constant, but knowing how to ebb and flow with feminism, I think is an art that needs to be studied and needs to be acted upon. And the person who can do that is the prize and receives the prize.
That was a lot. The person who can do that is the prize and receives the prize. What do you think about feminism today?
I think by definition, it's the same. But obviously, when it's moving within a culture, the culture will reshape it in a different way. I think all in all, feminism is about equal rights and equal opportunity for, everybody. But I do think some people misconstrued and change and take feminism and go the complete opposite direction. Like now I absolutely don't need a man, or they completely reject, like what you said, they reject anything anything that was traditional back then, which you can do that, but also in some instances I feel like it closes minds. And all in all, I feel we should all be living with open minds, and we should all realize that we don't have to have the same exact journey. We don't have to do the same exact things. We could be a trad wife. We could be a girl boss. I actually hate that term. I don't know why I said that. But you can do anything. And I think feminism still stands for that, for free choice, free opportunity for everybody. But there are people that, take that and they're like, I reject anything traditional, which is their choice, but I still feel like it could be closing minds in some instances. So I think there's just some people that are misinformed about feminism, and it has to do with like their own personal trauma. Also, like maybe they just want to reject men or reject people entirely, which I don't think is helpful. But I'm still grateful for feminism. I keep spinning, sorry y'all. I'm so grateful for feminism, and I think it's still helpful now. Just people interpret it differently, and sometimes those interpretations are unhelpful and not exactly what feminism was for. But I just think everyone should do what they want to do. They don't have to follow traditions. They can follow traditions. You can do whatever you want. That's what I think.
You said something about girl boss. What don't you like about girl boss?
I just think it's patronizing. Like, girl boss, like, oh my God, just shut up, bro. Like, it's like, dude, anyone can be a boss. Like, now we're in 2026. Anyone could do anything. Or at least that's the theory being put into practice. But, like, girl boss is just like, oh, you're a boss or you're a girl, but you're also a boss. Like, as if those are two separate things. Like, being a girl doesn't inherently mean that you can have those qualities. Like, there's no set definition for being a girl. And if you have to say girl boss, I feel like it's just like, it's just doing the opposite of what it's set forth for. Like, she's just a boss. Like, she is a boss. That's what it is. She's not a girl boss. Like, I don't know. It's just patronizing to me, it sounds like. And like, girls use it mostly, but I still think it's unhelpful. But whatever. That's just my opinion about girl boss.
Do you have anything to say about girl boss, Linda?
Ditto. And for the feminists who think they're empowering themselves, saying girl boss, you've already missed the mark. Because what you're really saying is that men traditionally are bosses, right? So just like Saida said, it's weird. You can't be for something and against it at the same time. I'm a boss. Period. I'm that chick. Period. I'm all that in a bag of chips. Period. I'm not a girl who's all that in a bag of chips. I'm her. I'm it.
Mm-hmm.
And let that carry all the weight that it needs to carry.
That is actually enlightened for me because I don't really know too much about this feminism thing, so I just had to ask you ladies because I'm a man, so I don't really know too much about that. But yeah, well, but I've heard the term girl boss,
Mm-hmm.
and I know a lot of ladies, especially ladies that are entrepreneurs, that say I'm a girl boss, and it's like on their page on Instagram, TikTok, Meta, Facebook, and stuff.
Yeah, those are people that place a lot of identity in them being a girl or whatever. Like, there isn't really I don't personally believe there is a certain definition to be a girl or to be a woman or to be a man. People have their different interpretations of it. I mean, it's all constructed. We all construct these roles and like this idea of a girl, woman, man. And people that say girl boss, I just feel like they're making themselves smaller by saying that. And it's like the opposite of being a boss. Like, why do you have to say that you're a girl boss? You would just be one, I think. I just hate that term.
Okay, you said something about just to be sure. Do you think there are two genders?
I think there are. I wouldn't put a number on it, honestly. I don't really know. I think like, if someone creates something for themselves, then that is their truth. Like, we all are buried underneath the dirt at some point. We're all going to die. If you want to present a certain way. And I mean, gender in itself is like, it is a social construct. If you have constructed something for yourself, then that is valid. Like, that's your lived experience. We're all going to end up in the ground anyways. Do what you want. Like, that's what I think. Obviously, there's there's also intersex people, but biologically, there's a standard for like male and female. And then there's some in between for intersex individuals. But our brains are very complicated, and setting a certain standard for everybody, it's just very destructive. Like, no one can fit a perfect standard. We're very different individuals, and why limit ourselves? Like, why limit ourselves? Yeah, I'll end right there.
Okay, so listening to you, you believe that there may be more, or whatever anybody chooses
Mhm.
is fine.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think? Do you think there are two genders or maybe more genders?
When you say, do I think there's two genders?
Which is male and female? Or you think there may be
I
more?
think I know there are two genders, male and female, right? And we have other genders as well, is how I would answer that.
Okay.
I would not be absolute in it, but what I would say is it started with two genders, because without the two genders, if we take away in vitro fertilization, all this type of thing, two genders was making it happen. I do believe that intersex happens. I do believe all kind of other machinations go on. But I do believe that there are two genders, or I could even say we started with two genders and we morphed from there. That's how I would answer that question.
Nice. Okay.
Wait, could I
yeah,
add
of
something?
course. Absolutely.
I agree with that also. But even like in different cultures, there were multiple genders, like way back then. Like for Native Americans, they have like a two-spirit. I could be saying this wrong. I don't know all about it, but like in Native American culture, they have multiple genders. Even like in the Bible, you'll hear about, what are they called? Starts with a C, but there are certain people that didn't conform to male or female, and Jesus would like often protect them. I can't remember their names, but it'll click to me later. But yeah, even in history and long before, our current societal standards, like there were people that were outside of the binary. I think we've always been complicated from the beginning, and it showed up in different cultures, and then more prominent cultures took over and decided this was the set standard, and other ideologies and beliefs were pushed to the side. But yeah, I think it's always been a truth, multiple genders or outside normal binaries, whatever. Yeah.
Saida, do you feel pressure to prove something as a young woman today?
Yes. Yes, I do. Um, a lot of it is mostly like I choose to feel that pressure. I think I could technically turn that off if I wanted to, but it's very hard because my parents aren't necessarily, they're not pressuring, they're more supportive, I think. So I don't feel, super pressured to like hurry up and do all these things. But when I look around, and like the internet has also concentrated this feeling a lot. Like you see other people's perspectives, what they're doing in their lives, and that can really up the ante. That can make you feel like you're in a hot seat a little bit, because you're just looking at everybody's else's lives and you compare your life to theirs. And sometimes you are like, well, why am I not there yet? Well, how did they get there? How do I get there? Type of feeling. And I feel like life right now is like passing really fast. That's how I feel. Like it's zooming by already, and A lot of times I do feel like I am under pressure, but it's mostly self-inflicted, honestly. Yeah.
So, Linda, listening to her, would you say her pressure or most of the pressure she may be feeling is coming from social media?
Yeah, because young people now are not like young people when I was coming up because we didn't have social media. So there was we had comparisons and all that, but I mean, it's to the 12th power now. And so, in a way, I kind of feel a little sorry for young people during these times because you don't even know what's real, right? Like just because you see it,
Mhm.
you can rent a mansion, you can rent a Bentley, you can rent a Birkin bag, you can rent people. You can say, hey, I'm doing this production. I need extras. We're not going to pay you, but we'll feed you. Da da da. You'll get camera time. And you have no idea that that's some young person filming a version of their lives and none of it's real.
Mm.
So you see it, but it's not real.
Mm.
Check that out. You see it. You're watching it. You're watching them pull up on the Bentley. You watching them, the people come. You don't know they're rented. You just answered this thing on Backstage that said filming for a party, but this person is going to take this footage, put it on their channel, and you just might happen to be looking like, oh my gosh, I was there. This was all fake. But other people don't know that. So when reality, meaning you see it, isn't real, what do you do with that?
Mm.
Because you do see it, but it's not real.
Mhm.
So you can rent Birkin bag?
You can rent anything. You can rent Louis. You can rent luxury cars. You can rent mansions. People put their mansions up for sale. They're not always there. And if you own a mansion, that's not the only thing you own.
I never knew you could rent a Birkin bag.
You can rent anything. You can buy anything. This is what I'm saying. Everything is for sale. Do you want to buy it is the question.
Okay. Am I looking to renting a Birkin bag for myself? Okay. All right. Okay. So, Linda, do you think independence and relationships sometimes pull women in opposite directions?
Absolutely. Because we're battling a couple of things here. We're battling the instinct of my man, my man, my man, or my woman, my woman, my woman, wherever you are. But what about me? There's a scene in the movie Fences. I don't know if y'all saw the movie Fences
With Denzel?
and Viola Davis. And so he gets to go out, he gets to impregnate someone, and he's sharing. That scene is the most powerful scene in the whole movie. And I don't know where Viola went to get this emotion, but snot's coming out of her nose, tears are going. And she said, don't you think that I wanted to do other things too, but I stuck by you, right? And that's where the pain's coming from. Because what she's really saying is, how dare you think
Mm.
that I didn't have dreams? I didn't have things that I wanted to do? And not only do you go do what you want to do, you bring the proof back. There's a child involved now. So yes, absolutely. I think it's a constant battle with that. But again, it's the ebb and flow of life. I do believe there's time when you can be independent. And I also think there's times when you will be a follower. I think there's times when you'll be a leader. And you have to be open to that, right? I think we get in trouble when we say, this is who I am, and that's all there is to it. And no matter what, I stand on this. So I think you can be independent, you can be a leader, you can be a follower, depending on the situation and the circumstances. And I believe that's what makes you really a well-rounded person, is when you can do that. And that's the real sign of maturity to me, is when you can do that and not feel less than.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Do you want to add anything to that?
To be honest, I didn't completely understand the question, but I
Right.
really liked how you answered it.
So it was, do you think independence and relationships sometimes pull women in opposite directions? For example, you want to be a girl boss and, you're saying you don't need a man, but then you want a relationship sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
sort of.
And like, does that like separate?
Does that create, a separation, sort of?
Like a negative separation or just a general? Sorry, I'm
Right. So
maybe as a woman, I could.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, for instance, I'll just keep it 100. Me and my guy broke up because I wanted to explore acting and, non-traditional things, the user-generated content and things like that. I started exerting my independence, and he was used to me being to him, I was supposed to just be what I was.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't necessarily supposed to grow. He was used to me being one way. So when I started exerting my independence, it created friction to the point where we're no longer together.
Okay.
So I believe the question Genesis is asking is, can you be independent within a relationship and it still prosper? More or less?
I
And it's okay.
This is a hard question to answer. I think yes and no. Depends on your partner and what priorities or values they hold. I think being independent entirely would be very difficult to nurture a relationship. But maybe that person doesn't need nurturing or doesn't need you to always be there. They just like having a support and then going separate ways. I think it depends on the person. I mean, that wouldn't work for me. But yeah. There's definitely, I think maybe the average person, like relationship wise, when you look at other people's relationships, there's a lot of like codependence, and relying on each other, and like there's this idea that you're supposed to be like each other's partners. But if you have different goals and things that you want to pursue, that doesn't, maybe you can't be partners in that sense, but you can still come back for that connection and that romance. Yeah, I feel like I still didn't answer the question, but yeah, that's what I think.
You did your best. You did your
Yeah.
best. Okay, so this is every question has been to the both of you ladies, but I will start with Seda right now.
Okay.
What do you think about marriage?
I think marriage is a lot of things. I think at the front of it, it's just it's a sacred promise. Like maybe another layer would be a religious tradition, another but I think maybe at the base of it, it's like a financial economic proposition type of situation, because I mean that's what it was really for back then, was so that women could be supported somehow, because they weren't allowed to do anything, so they had to rely on men, and marriage really helped solidify that financial gap, I guess. And now it's honest, I mean, I looked this up. Apparently divorce rates are not as high as they used to be. They're kind of going down in the youth generation. So I was low-key gonna say that I feel like it's a way for other people to just profit off of other people's pain because it's a really high divorce rate. I thought it was 50-50 that was the divorce rate. And so, and like, we live in a capitalistic world, so everything can be profited off of. So I just thought that's what marriage was. But now that I'm seeing it going down, my mind is changing a little bit. I think it can, I mean, it is love. It's to form a sacred promise, can be financially benefiting. It can make you move through the world easier with your partner, your choice partner. Yeah, I don't think it's as necessary anymore. Honestly, I think this, at our current state of the world economically, we need 4 people in a marriage at this point. Like 2 isn't really doing it anymore. So yeah, honestly, I don't think it's as necessary anymore. But yeah, that's what I think about marriage. I would like to do it, maybe. I haven't decided.
So, what do you think about marriage?
Well, as a divorced woman, I think marriage is awesome. I think it's so important that we know ourselves before we get married. I think one of the biggest issues is people don't really keep it real with themselves and what they truly want. I think if you marry for finances, it's doomed to fail. But I understand why people do it, but it's doomed to fail. It's not going to be enough. I feel like you need to be attracted to your partner, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that. I feel like you almost need to be, for lack of a better word, obsessed with your partner, right? That's the type of attraction that needs to be there because you're going to go through a lot of stuff. And so if you don't have some stuff in there to really hold that glue together, it's not going to work. If you marry for finances, when the money gets low, you are out of there. If you marry for love, right? I believe it's a lot easier to work together because love is a powerful, 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 powerful emotion. People will do backflips, splits, and just go through the fire for love. And if that's not the basis of the relationship, it is not going to work. But when that love is there, you'll start from scratch together. You will work 2 jobs if necessary. You will work at night and your man work during the day. So somebody's there with the kids. You will make it happen when that love is there. But if that love is not there, the first little bump, first little hiccup, it's over. And it doesn't die right then. It's a slow death. It's a horrible, miserable death. So I believe in marriage. I do. But I will be obsessed with my husband next go round. I'm 62, and I still believe my husband is out there.
Never has to end. Never has to end.
You said something. You said people would do backflip, split for, love. But do you think love is enough?
I believe love is enough when other things are in place. Love isn't enough if you're lazy. Love isn't enough if you're trifling. Love isn't enough if your partner's ambitious and you're not understanding. Because you don't have to be ambitious, but you have to understand why they are and not beat them up for it and figure out how do you fit in with that ambition instead of you whining and moaning and complaining about why you always at the office. Go to the office. It's his office.
Mm.
Take his spread to the office. Take a picnic back basket to the office. Figure it out. Because whining is going to have him dating the secretary. It's not going to have him thinking that, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get back to her whining. Right?
Go to his office.
Yeah, why not? It's his office. He owns the building.
Take the picnic to his office.
Take it to the office.
Okay. What do you think about that?
Taking a picnic to
Yeah.
the
Would you do
office?
that if you say you get married?
Take the picnic to the office? Like, you mean
The
confront the
basket.
problem?
No.
You mean
Okay, so
literally?
most people, well, I shouldn't say most people, but historically it seems as if men who are very ambitious don't marry ambitious women because they want the woman to really not, they want the woman to really serve them. Let's just keep it real. And they'd rather get someone, now you got to be pretty though. The more money you have, the more beautiful the women are, if you notice. It don't matter what the man looks like. If you got the money, your wife reflects the money.
Absolutely.
However, sometimes them women don't win because they think their beauty is enough. And so does the man, unfortunately. Right? Going in, oh, she's hot. Because most men who have beautiful women, when they get the money, they didn't have them when they didn't have it. So they're already going in thinking, I wonder if she wants me. I wonder if it's the money. And they know it's the money. But see, then the ego kicks in. And it's like, well, no, I'm pretty sure if I didn't have anything, well, then why you didn't have anyone that looked like her before? Right? So we play all these games with ourselves, right? Men do these things. But the beauty fades. And that's when you get turned in for another one because all you brought to the table was your beauty. That's it. You didn't want to raise the kids, so you got a nanny. You didn't want to cook, you got to cook. You didn't want to do nothing but be beautiful. And that's the downfall because all beauty fades. All beauty fades. And so we turn them in and we get us another beautiful one. Pay her $1 million a year and keep it pushing.
Are you sure beauty fades?
It fades. Oh, most definitely. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Listen, my I got to keep it 100 because we got a young lady in here, but the boobs not standing up at attention like they used to.
Girl,
I'm
same.
No.
It's
you
already
21. You 21. Trust and believe.
Bruh.
I don't care how hard I work out if I got everything done. Put me up next to a 21-year-old with a thong. Not gonna happen. And I'm okay with it. Because the truth, again, will do what? Set you free. Truth is your best friend. No matter where you find yourself in life, ask yourself, what is the truth about this current situation I am in? And you'll be fine. Always ask yourself when you're stuck, what is the truth about the current situation I'm in? And if you answer that question truthfully, I don't care where you are, you'll be fine.
Do you want to talk about why you got a divorce?
Oh, I got a divorce because my husband was addicted to cocaine. I didn't know it because I'm not a person that does that type of stuff. I don't know what to look for. And he was dating all kind of women. Because if you think I'm hot now, can you imagine 30 years ago what I look like? And then he was hot. We both hot, right? Doing our hot thing. And so he cheated and he was addicted to cocaine. Like, what? And I can't be with somebody that was a path I was not willing to walk down because I wasn't obsessed with him. Had I been obsessed with him, I would have been willing to take that walk. Because love will have you doing backflips and doing all kinds of things, right?
So if you weren't, first of all, is love obsession? That's the first thing. And the second thing is, if you weren't obsessed with him, according to you, why did you say, yes, let's get married?
Because what did I say? When you marry for what? When is it doomed?
Beauty, money.
Oh,
Oh, he had money. Oh, that's because he was getting cocaine. Of course, he had money.
You see what I'm saying?
right.
It's not enough. So soon as, remember I said it's the first hiccup? Now the antenna is not all the way up, but it's poking through. And then it's this, then the money start getting funny, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. This is not what I signed up for.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's love obsession.
You have to define, here's the thing about love that I think is pretty cool. We all have to define what that is for ourselves. I believe Webster's dictionary is a start, but you can then layer your stuff onto what love is. Because for some people, love is some weird stuff. Okay? So I'm not going to sit here and define what love is, because that seems to be evolving.
Mm.
Because as we know, with the P and the D and the IDD, who's currently up the way, love was a whole bunch of stuff to him and other people, right? So we have to be careful when we define what love is for ourselves and stand on that, and don't let anybody come in and redefine to you what love is. Because somebody said, well, Linda, you didn't really love him because you didn't walk through the fire. And I'm like, I know I didn't love him. I never said the L word.
Wow.
What? Even after you got married? Oh, wow.
I told him I could learn to love him.
Wow.
I think you can learn to love people, to be honest. But if
that's
that
not
initial,
obsession,
yeah,
though.
if that obsession isn't there planted first, it
It's not
can't.
obsession, though.
How long were you married for?
2 years and a half. I think about a half.
When did you get married? What age?
I think I was like 31 maybe, or 2.
Okay. So say you got a divorce at 33, 34. Now you're 62. In between those years, what happened? Why didn't you, did anybody stand out to you? Why didn't you, settle down with someone?
Trauma.
Mm.
That's why we got to be real careful. Trauma can steal your joy and your opportunities and your perspective, and have you live a life that is very shallow, right? And so because of the trauma, I allow the trauma to lead instead of my heart. That's real grown woman talk right there.
Do you believe it is never too late to reinvent yourself?
I believe that it is never too late to reinvent yourself, because as long as you're breathing, you can be achieving. It's only too late when you're no longer here. So a lot of people make excuses for the fact that life isn't the way they want it, as if they don't have any choices, right? But the real reason why they're frustrated with their life is because they don't have the courage to course correct. They have gotten so conditioned to a humdrum, run-of-the-mill, garden variety, ordinary life that even though they can look over there and see the unicorns and the rainbows and the butterflies, they'll stay on their side of town where it's dark and there's a moat and there's alligators and all kinds of piranhas, and they got to cross that to get to the other side. But there's a bridge there. You don't have to walk through the alligators and the piranhas, but they act as if that's the only way to get over there.
Mm.
But they see other brave people walking over the bridge to the unicorns. And that's why I say that life is about choices and decisions. You can choose to reinvent yourself, You can choose to get off drugs. You can choose to stop being an HOE and get your life together and not being judgmental. But, a lot of people doing their thing at Magic City, trying to figure out why they don't have a husband. And it's like, girl, let's keep it 100. Why do you think you don't have a husband? You know what I mean? Not being judgmental, but we got to make some choices here. Like you said with manifestation, you can talk till the cows come home, but you got to take what you said during your manifestation practice and go out there and start manifesting. It's not magic, it's manifesting. And a lot of people confuse the two.
Or you were 21. Do you think you are currently reinventing yourself?
Yes, like all the time. I'd say I'm a very open-minded person, and I'm still navigating what will work best for me. And all around me, it seems like a lot of people have figured out different ways, and I'm trying to figure out maybe if I can adapt to some of their ways and make it my own. I'm just observing at this point and waiting till something clicks. Not waiting, like actively pursuing my life to figure out what will click, what will work in breakthroughing into not necessarily purpose, but just what my experience will inevitably end up being. Yeah, I always feel like I'm reinventing myself. I'm always thinking, I'm always analyzing myself, maybe to a fault. I just like I think there are like some people in the world, I don't like there's a certain name for it, but like there's some people in the world that act completely on instinct and like they don't have an inner monologue. And like that works for them. Like they don't have to think about what they're doing. They just do it, and that energy really works. But for me, my brain is like always self-aware, always viewing myself. And so so there's a lot of different ways that I can see myself becoming or turning into. There's a lot of different things I can see happening because I'm thinking so hard about what I'd like or how I want to be, how I want to show up. Sometimes I wish it was just instinct like it is for other people, but it really is a lot of crafting, at least in my mind. I'm always crafting myself. I'm always trying to better myself and adapt and do trial and error by also observing other people's trial and error. Yeah, I always feel like I'm reinventing myself.
Is it exhausting for you sometimes?
Yes, all the time. It's very exhausting. I really, like before, I really wish it was instinct. I wish I just knew what I wanted to do. I wish I just knew how I wanted to approach life. But and I mean, it's a safeguard at the same time. Like I'm being careful and I'm, working intentionally, which can help me better obtain like a specific goal. Whereas maybe somebody who's just like going through the motions, like they might just end up anywhere. I don't really want to end up anywhere. So yeah, it is exhausting. It's exhausting being alive, honestly.
Oh my.
But it's fun. It's just part of being alive. Can be tiring. So
Linda, do you want to add anything to that?
No, she did a really good job. That's pretty much, yeah. That sounds like something a 21-year-old, if I think back to 21, that's where I was. I don't think you're off track.
glad to hear that.
Would you have any advice for her, being that you're 62, she's 21, and she said being alive is exhausting and tiring sometimes? Being that you've lived through this age, what advice would you give?
I would say that think about what makes your heart sing and really double down on that. Because I think what happens, or I feel what happens in our youth, especially now, you guys have social media. Oh my gosh. There's so many distractions, first of all. Is really, really, I would say just take out a piece of paper for real. Like all this writing on our things. I just think there's something magical that happens when you put paper to pencil or pen to paper and just write down what would Saida's perfect day look like. And get in touch with that. And rally your mind about what moves do I need to make to get to this? And that is going to eliminate a lot of the overwhelm, because I feel like a lot of times the overwhelm comes from the uncertainty. Is this the right move? Is that the right move? Should I be doing this? Should I be saying this? Right? And that's because we don't have an idea of what it is or who we are. But when you write down what would my perfect day look like, that gives you a blueprint and nothing else. And then you can say things like, is this aligning with my ideal day? No, it's not. Okay, so we're not going to do that. Right? And then you start taking things off the table because it's not in alignment with what you said your ideal day is, which is really sharing with yourself what makes Saida tick for real. Not what mama said, not what daddy said, not what my friend said, not what, they said, not what they talking about on TikTok, but what makes me tick. Like, for real, Saida, we gonna sit down and hash this out. And it might take a while. Because a lot of times we don't know what we want because we don't know who we are. And so much of, remember the conditioning and the programming. So we got to deprogram ourselves, right? And just peel back that onion.
Yeah.
And get down to who am I? And give yourself space to really explore that. And not try to do it like, okay, Linda said, okay, I'm going to go home today and I'm going to figure out who am I? No, that's going to take a while. But at least start thinking about it. We don't really give ourselves space to even think about it a lot of times.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Linda, you spoke about therapy earlier. What do you think about mental health with this new generation?
I have to give it up to the new generation because they are a lot braver than my generation was. I'm really excited by the fact that you guys embrace mental health, like with a bear hug. For instance, I don't know her name, but she plays tennis. She's Japanese and Haitian.
Naomi?
I know who you're Naomi, yeah. I think you're talking
Osaka?
about Naomi.
Yeah.
Osaka.
Extreme anxiety. Had to take time off, get herself together because she could not deal with the interviews after the tennis matches. But they're part of the process. Addressed that she was dealing with some mental health issues. I love that. People in my era would have just popped stuff and just dealt with it, crashed out, found dead, and then you're like, oh my God, well, what was that all about? Simply because they thought it was shame in addressing the mental health. What's the young lady who does all the gymnastics? Simone took time off, get herself together, but came back. See what therapy and all that can do? Came back and crushed it because she dealt with whatever that was holding her back. I think mental health should be mandatory. I think it should be taught in school. I think starting as preschool, kindergarten, and up, there should be a time allotted where you can meditate, where you can journal, where you can get in touch with who you are. I think it should be a part of life. That's how important it is. So that we're not letting trauma and shame and guilt and anxiety and depression and PTSD and all of this lead us. We will never erase it, but we can manage it. So when it comes up, it's like, no, depression. We're not doing this today, remember? And you do your coping mechanisms. You know how to deal with it because you got stuff to do. You don't have time to be depressed. You don't have time to be miserable. You don't have time to deal with PTSD, but we learn how to manage it. So it's not that Naomi no longer has anxiety. Anxiety no longer has her. That is the difference. She knows how to deal with it now. She talks to herself when it's time to go into the interview. She's like, okay, babe, we're getting ready to go into this interview. We're going to woosah. We're going to do our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to take time before we answer the question, whatever it is. But once you learn, first you face it, and then once you learn how to deal with it, it's no longer an issue. It's no longer the big bad wolf, right? You head it off. You decapitate it. But you can only do that through mental health practices.
What do you think about? Well, she already gave your generation credit for
sure.
taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Do you take it seriously?
Oh, yeah. I definitely do. I loved everything you said, and I entirely agree with everything you said. I definitely think mental health is important, and it reflects how we show up in the world, how we take care of each other, how we love each other, and ultimately it dictates the collective health of our world. I think if we aren't focusing on each individual person's like what's going on inside their brain, then we're not connected and we're not getting to the root of the problem, because everything internal comes out externally in different ways, and it can be negative and positive depending on what you're projecting out. So I think it is the very root that needs to be addressed constantly. But I also think, there are some, I wouldn't say there's negatives to prioritizing mental health, but I do think in this culture there is a lot of there can be downplaying of mental health because everyone says that they have this thing. Everyone is going off the rails, being like, this is me, this is me, this is me. I don't necessarily think, it's a bad thing to, feel valid in a label, I guess. But in that instance, when everybody, if they don't know what they're talking about and they're saying, oh, I have PTSD, oh, I have this or that, it downplays, people that actually are dealing with that. If they don't know for certain, or if they're just saying, if they identify with one quality of that certain condition, and then they say that's them, it can downplay the actual mental health condition and make other people not take it seriously. Be like, oh, it's just that's just mental health. That's just the generation talking about anxiety and depression, ADHD, all of that. Like, people don't take it seriously because it's being thrown around willy-nilly. And I think it should be taken seriously. And I think conversations are important to educate younger generations and the older generations that perhaps don't believe in like therapy or mental health. Everyone should know, so that we can be on the same page that it is important, and it's not just something that the younger generation made up to cope or to be lazy or whatever. Because I would hear that a lot in like 2020. People would be like, "Oh, you guys are just saying whatever. You guys are just being weak or snowflakes or whatever." But it's not that. It is really serious. It really does shape our world. It takes lives, it changes lives, and I think it should be entirely focused on. Like, it is the root. That's what I believe of everything.
You spoke about faith earlier on, right? So what do you believe in? Were you a Christian one time and now you're not a Christian anymore, or a Muslim one time and now you're not a,
Yeah.
what do you believe in now?
Yeah, I was a Christian up until I was like 15 years old, and then I started deconstructing from there. And now I won't, I guess, agnostic, or I don't know. I don't really label what my belief is. But I think that's what it would come up as. Um, yeah, agnostic. I do have trouble like fully putting faith in any sort of belief. Um, that is like, I think it's mostly based on religious trauma because, I based my life around Christianity. I thought it was real. It's how I showed up in the world. It's how I talked to other people. Like I thought I was like having to save people. And now it's once I figured out it wasn't real, or it wasn't what I thought it was. Um, Now I feel very like meticulous about what I believe in, because what if it just falls from me again? But I still think it is important to have beliefs. So I'm working on, gaining confidence in, what I've chosen to believe in, which is that we are a projection of the universe. We are experiencing the universe in our body. And that, energy can be transmuted, and we can create our reality, all that sort of stuff. That's what the basis of what I believe. But yeah.
What about you?
I see faith as two things. I see faith as religiosity, spirituality, and then I also see faith as an action verb, meaning I have faith in myself. I have faith in my abilities. I have faith in my decision making. I have faith in the roadmap and the blueprint that I have designed for my life at this point of my metamorphosis. And I also, similar to Saida, didn't really grow up in a religious household, so to speak, but I understand people who do believe in God, who do believe in a supreme being, and I will fight to the death for them to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I want to be able to believe what I believe, right? Which is in myself, if we're going to just keep it all the way real. And I also believe that there is someone, we can call him God, the universe, the supreme being, the Almighty, Yahweh, whatever one wants to call him or her, that does look out for us, right? But we have to also look out for ourselves. I don't see God as being the end all be all, which is pretty controversial. But I do see God as being in us as well. Like I'm a goddess because I'm made in the image of God, the supreme being, the universe. So I'm the universe, I'm the supreme being, I'm God, I'm all of that. And because of that, I am able to overcome so much in my life because I know I come from some really powerful stuff. So I'm not a punk. I'm not weak. I'm not a sheep. I don't belong to the Matrix. I'm not a zombie. And that all comes from not only belief in God, but belief in myself and my abilities, not discounting God, but also knowing that if I can believe in God, most people believe in God, but they don't even believe in themselves. And I'm like, how can that be? How can you believe in God, but you don't even believe in yourself? Like, to me, that's an oxymoron. That cannot exist. So we got a lot of people out here thinking they believe in God, but they really don't. They believe in the idea of believing. Like
Mm-hmm.
that sounds good to be a part of the belief crew, the belief zombies, right?
Mm.
And that's how I would describe faith.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Well, before the last question, I just wanted to ask you, do you miss certainty?
Yes. Yes, I do. I will say that the one thing Christianity offered was certainty and confidence and just like knowing what I'm doing. It had a concrete path, which felt really good, which is why I also think it's a coping mechanism for a lot of people, because it does feel good to feel like you know what's going on, you know what you're doing, you know how other people should be living, you know how you should be living, you know what we're here for, which is a crazy thing that not even scientists are able to fully get to the bottom of. Like this thing, like feeling like you know above everybody else it really does make you it really makes you feel good. Like it's definitely helpful in just being confident and knowing where you're going. So I do miss that. I miss that because the world was smaller. It was easier to navigate in that sense, in that lens. It was easier to judge other people and put myself on a pedestal. Now I feel it's level ground. Now I feel like anything can happen. Now I feel like the world is limitless. And that's really hard to navigate because you're just yourself. And I was taught that myself wasn't good enough for a while. So it's hard now coming out of it from a Christian because I wasn't told that I was good enough, to now having to build up that I am God in itself. Like not in like this self-centered way, but just like in this powerful way, in this energy way. We all are creating our own realities. We created all of this. That is very godly in a sense. Like we created this. So yeah, just finding myself in a uh finding the goddess within me has been a journey, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It's way easier to be a Christian. That's all I know.
You think so too? You think it's way easier to be a Christian than finding whatever?
Absolutely not. It's hard towing the line.
Hmm.
It seems easy as long as you're in the matrix. But now that you're outside of the matrix, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
So was it really easy, or was it constructed
Yeah.
so that as long as you're in the matrix, it's all good?
Mm-hmm.
But once you step outside of the matrix, it's hard, and it shouldn't be, because Jesus was with everybody, the lepers, the nasty, dirtiest, rottenest people in the world. And it was still easy. Because no matter where he went, there he was. So you take God with you wherever you are. So it still should be easy. I just want you to think about
Oh,
that.
the Matrix or
No.
coming out of it should still be easy.
Because God is still with you.
Right.
Because you
Yeah.
are a goddess. You're made in the image
Mhm.
of God. So God hasn't left you.
Yeah.
But when we're constructed and primed and conditioned,
Mhm.
we're led to believe that God exists in this space. And once you leave this space, God is no longer with you.
Mhm.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. And I believe that's constructed. Well, we could go into a whole different thing, but there's this movie out called The Book of Eli, and I think it breaks it down to the lowest compound, because he who has the book has the power.
Mhm.
Because if you got the book, you get the minds of the people. You got the book and the people. You got the power. So the movie was all about getting the book,
Yeah.
not finding God. And that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day.
I agree with that. I think there's also, certain Christians, they're are Christians that are doing it differently from each other, like maybe thousands of different ways to practice Christianity. Because, I mean, yeah, there's different doctrinations, but also people personally choose to interpret it their own way. The way that I was following it did feel easier than how I follow my own life now, because I mean, I liked following something. I liked not having to lead. I felt protected. I felt safe, and I definitely believe that being outside of this constructed religion can be easier, and it will become easy. Right now, as I'm finding footing, it's difficult because I'm still trying to relearn. I'm trying to deprogram.
So why did you leave if it was safe? Like, who leaves safety to not be safe?
I left because it slowly started to not make sense to me, at least. I
So
think
you chose sense over safety.
yeah, I think, yeah, definitely sense over safety, because I didn't want to. I mean, it wasn't making sense to me, so I no longer felt
So
safe
safety
in it.
wasn't,
Yeah.
say that again.
It wasn't making sense to me, so I was no longer safe
So then why are you not feeling safe then?
right now.
If sense equated to safety,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you said it stopped making sense. So then you would think safety would follow, right?
Yeah.
So why are you still not feeling safe? And that's something for you to think about.
Mhm.
Journal on that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the hurdle that has you stuck,
Mm-hmm.
because you haven't gone deep enough into it yet. But
Yeah.
logic is, if P then Q, P therefore Q.
Yeah.
So just think about that.
I mean, even now I could feel that the reason that I don't feel safe right now is just because Christianity was so constructed, and it felt someone planned it for me, whatever. But now I'm trying to find footing again in what is truth, what is real, and it's not as constructed because the world is huge, the universe is ginormous. We're all living different lives. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to there's a lot to think about from this conversation.
Yeah. And trust is
Mhm.
a big thing.
Trust in myself, because
There
I
you
am
go.
God.
Do you think it's harder today to be a woman or easier? And also, what is something that you admire about her generation? You already spoke about mental health awareness, but something else.
I think it's harder today to be a woman because it's been expanded. Like, it was really simple when I was coming out. I was born June 5th, 1963. And a woman was, you had your kids, you cooked, you cleaned, you nurtured your man, you nurtured your children, you packed lunches, it was very defined what a woman was, right? Now I feel that, like Saida said, being a woman is whatever you want it to be. And so I feel that there's a lot of confusion sometimes with that. And I'm not talking like a sexual thing, if you're binary, non-binary, trans, all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, like you said, a lot of things are social constructs, right?
Mhm.
It was a very simple social construct
Yeah.
when I was born. It has expanded. So I think it's a lot harder to be a woman today, because we have different definitions of what a woman is. We've got trans women, we've got non-binary, we've got and I'm not saying that we didn't have that then, but it's open, it's out, it's, we're wearing t-shirts, we're doing our things, there's channels, all kinds of things. So I think it can be, if you're not secure on what that means to you, you may end up becoming the type of woman who, fill in the blank, simply because you're not clear on what a woman is. So that's really important, that you just get clear on what that means to you. And secondarily, what was the second part of the question?
What do you admire about her generation?
That they're down for whatever. I'm gonna just keep it real. They are down for whatever. One day they might be non-binary. Next day they may be gay. The next day they back to being this. And that they're very fluid with it. I love that they're so non-judgmental and that they allow you to be who you are. But on the flip side, I do believe without some type of consistency or structure, that also can create problems on the other side. I do believe there's something to be said for consistency and a blueprint and a roadmap and structure. I do believe that you get to decide within the structure what you want to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think to be out here just willy-nilly is very destructive, and it doesn't allow you to become something because you're just all over the place.
What about you? Do you think it's easier to be a woman now or it was easier then?
With agreeing with what you said, I also think at the same time that they had their own hardships back then that, I mean, it just depends on what you view as worse. Like, is not being able to express yourself worse than now being able to express yourself and it's more complicated? I don't really know. I think maybe they're equally hard. We're just navigating through a very hard world and it's transforming slowly. I think it was very hard to be a woman back then. And now it's also very hard to be a woman now because of what you said. And then also, just in general, like we're still fighting those older traditions while expanding. And it really, it's difficult because, there's people trying to hold us down, but then there's no way to stop progress. It's going to keep expanding. So that, and like often those people are very angry, like the people that are trying to oppress are very angry and they're like sometimes violent. Like if you're trying that hard to oppress people, that's not coming from any gentle energy. That's straight rage, straight violence, and need for some sort of like an old traditional construction of the world. So yeah, I personally I don't really think either is harder than the other. I think they're both hard in different ways. And um yeah. Mhm.
So what are the things that you admire about her generation?
What I admire about your generation, I admire um oh, this is hard because I don't think you're all collectively the same. I mean, if I'm talking about a collective thing that came out of your generation, I would say that I do like this. I think there is a lot of hard work that came out of that generation. Like hard work. I mean, there was some negatives to like pushing aside your emotions or, family and just going with the standard, social construct and traditions that were made for you guys. But there was a lot of hard work that came out of that generation, a lot of strength and a lot of, you know, pushing through. And also they paved the way to us becoming what we are now. Like without the civil rights movements, without, feminism, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So, and that all came from hard work. It was all hard work. And yeah, I admire that we're able to be who we are now because of your generation. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Two women from two different generations coming together to have a well-needed, like I said, a well-needed discussion. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you got any value from this conversation, please subscribe, give us a like, and let us know what you think in the comment section. I am your host, Genesis Lawanson, and this is Madhouse Conversations. Hey, everybody. If you enjoyed this clip, click here to watch more.